Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. What's it about? Well, in a similar way to At the Board in 1979, it's an actual historic event, and an iconic event as well. The Charge of the Light Brigade, when a cavalry battalion charged headlong at some Russian gun emplacements in the Crimean War, and eventually what turned out was a massacre, because the cavalry should never have charged against cannons, because it was suicidal. This poem is very, very much about the bravery of those men, and as the last stanza says, honour the charge they made, honour the Light Brigade, noble 600. This is a poem in tribute, in celebration of a huge sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice that these soldiers made. Repeated ideas. Well, the repeated idea here is the valour and the bravery of these men, that not only charged against the enemy, but they even turned back and charged once more, even though they knew they were literally being gunned down and they stood no chance. The repeated idea here is of the valour and also the unquestionable courage of these men, in that they, as it says in the poem, theirs was not to question why, theirs was but to do and die. They actually went straight for it, unquestionably, because it was their duty. Now the tone here is, it's many things at once really, but it's exuberant almost. The bravery of these men almost rubs off on the narrator, him or herself. They're really, really fired up about it. So individual words. Well, the one that strikes me really is cannon. Cannon being a type of large gun that's loaded and obviously has the cannonball fired out of it, but cannon is repeated several times, in fact 6 times. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon in front of them, and the individual words there really, they sort of emphasise quite literally what these men were up against. They were charging against cannon. Alliteration. Lots really. There's a massive amount of alliteration here, which is good because I've been struggling to find some with the other ones. But we have, for example, the H words. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward. Theirs was not to reason why. Theirs not to. Cannon, cannon, cannon again. Flashed all their sabres bare. Flashed as they turned in air. Now if I focus on that example of alliteration, flashed all their sabres bare, it's almost onomatopoeic, the flash of these sabres as they were brought down onto probably the heads of the cannon operators. So rhyme and rhythm, perfect. Again, this poem. The rhythm itself almost sounds like the galloping of horses, and of course cavalry soldiers rode horses and were absolutely formidable when they ran at an enemy. So we have the idea of the gallop, half a league, half a league, half a league onward. It's repeated all through the poem, although you could say that in the last stanza, which is noticeably shorter, that rhythm halts slightly, because it reflects all of these men being cut down, and there would only have been a few survivors at that point. So, rhyme. There's a great deal of rhyme throughout, and it's there to drive this poem on, to drive the pace on, to keep and maintain that running horse beat. And structure, well, we sort of said it in a way. The structure, they're fairly regular stanzas until the end, which is shorter, which, as we said before, maybe represents that these men were being cut down, these men were dying, the numbers were dwindling. However, stanza 4 is very interesting, it's very long, and if anything, this reflects the idea that this is, in the heat of the battle, the most violent and most terrifying time, when the sabres are flashing, when they're plunging into battery smoke. So it reflects really the frenzied activity of that battle. Okie dokie, thank you.